Hi there, Prairie Plant Girl here. So today in my What Am I Sowing series, we're going to talk about sunflowers. Now if you caught my brassicas video, then you will know that last summer, in about autumn I think it was, August I think it was, I went a little bit crazy buying seeds, and I bought a whole stack of sunflower varieties. And I promised I would share them with you, and today's the day. I love sunflowers, and I always like to have a few growing in my yard, just for the color, and you know, the birds enjoy eating them. But I don't know, I've just really gotten into cutting them and bringing them in, and so I got really looking into kinds that could come into the house and not be dropping the pollen and making such a mess in my house. And so that was part of what I was looking for when I went looking for sunflowers this year. So I went and I picked a whole bunch of sunflowers, and most of them are cutting varieties. So the cutting varieties are supposed to have nice long stems, strong stems, and most or all of them are pollen free, so they won't be dropping and making such a mess. I have really bad allergies to most pollens. And as much as I enjoy beautiful bouquets of sunflowers in the house, they really make me stuffed up and sick, and kind of ruins the enjoyment for me a little bit. So I thought I would maybe try and fix that. I usually try to grow plants that have lots of pollen in that, just because it's good for the pollinators. But I decided to grow a few for me this year. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 varieties of cutting sunflowers for this year, plus a couple more that I'll get into after. So the first one that I picked is Firecracker. Now this is supposed to be kind of a range of color from, you know, the outer petals being yellow to turning almost like red, mahogany colored, into like a deep, dark chocolate brown center. They're 2 to 3 feet tall. So that's a nice height for in your garden. Now in contrast to that is the Chocolata. So these are 6 feet tall, and they have a very deep, dark, mahogany, almost brown petal. Like most of the petal is that color, and then just the very tips are supposed to be yellow, and then a very fine ring of yellow right before you get to the center of the flower where the seeds are, which is a brown black. So this will be really nice, and I've highlighted here, this one is pollen free. The next one is Velvet Queen, and this is supposed to be a bright orangey red kind of sunflower for the petals, about 5 feet tall, and these are supposed to be nice, good size, 5 to 6 inch blooms. And then they have just like the ends of the petals towards the outside are supposed to be just kind of, they say, tipped with yellow. And from the pictures I've seen, I'd say it's almost like you took like a dry paintbrush with just, you know, just dipped in yellow but dry, and just kind of barely wiped it around the outer parts of the petals. So that'll be nice to see. So the next one is Vincent Fresh. This is another pollenless variety, and these have bright yellow petals, and the centers are yellow as well. They're supposed to have very sturdy stems that keep the flowers upright after they're cut, and the upper leaves are supposed to be smaller as well, which can look nice in an arrangement. And then I have the Pro Cut Red. This is out of the Pro Cut series. It's also pollenless, and this should be a nice bright red, almost reddish purple, I believe it is, flower with a dark center. And I think this will be a nice one. Again, it's pollenless, and it's 5 to 6 feet tall, 3 to 4 inch flower heads. Now this one here is Valentine, and it has really lemony flowers. It's a multi-branching sunflower. It grows 4 to 5 feet tall, and I believe the flower heads are a little bit smaller on it, but it's supposed to be very vigorously branching. So I should get lots of flowers out of this one. It'd be nice to tuck in some smaller ones in with some of the larger ones and that bright yellow to kind of give a pop, that lemony yellow color. This one is Giant Sungold, and it has a very fuzzy kind of looking flower head. It's supposed to be a tall version of teddy bear, so if you've seen teddy bear, this is that flower basically, just on a tall version. It's supposed to have a very strong stem that holds these big heavy flower heads up without drooping over. About 5 feet tall, and it says it has branching stems too, so I should get maybe multiple heads off of this one as well. The next one I have is Sunbright Supreme, and this is again a nice bright yellow flower. It's 4 to 5 feet tall, another pollenless one. It's supposed to be a good strong sunflower as well, so it should be a nice one to have. And that 4 to 5 foot range, you know, a lot of these are 5 to 6 or shorter, so this is a nice kind of mid-range sunflower. And that one is pollenless as well. So that's my cutting sunflowers. And then I have a couple of dwarf sunflowers. So I have Teddy Bear, which I grew last year, and I just have half a dozen seeds left in here. But again, it has that really kind of fuzzy head on it, or flower on it. But it's a very small. I grew it last year. I want to say my plants were only a couple of feet tall. This package doesn't say how tall they're supposed to get, but I think that's what they were, was like maybe 2 feet tall. This one is Bert, and this is like supposed to be at about 14 to 16 inches tall. And to me, it just has that real classic sunflower kind of look with just that nice bright yellow petals that get darker towards the middle and that brown center. I believe it's multi-branching. The catalog does say that this one is good for cut flowers as well, and I would think that it probably is in the way that it's pollenless as well, so that's another bonus for that one. And then to carry on with the theme that seems to have gone through my seed selection for this year, I have a couple of mixes. So the first one is the Go Bananas mix. And this mix is supposed to be all pollenless flowers again, which will be great for me, like I said, for when I'm cutting and wanting to bring them in the house. And it has just a real mixture of different types of flowers, from some of the really fuzzy heads to some of the more classic looks. And I believe it's a range from 6 to 8 feet in height. So should be a nice variation in there. And then the last one that I have is Autumn Beauty Mix, and I actually have some seeds from last year, but this came in a collection of seeds that there were several packets that were sold together in a collection that way. So I managed to get this one in there, and that's okay. Sunflower seeds last a long time, and these are beautiful. I grew these last year. Gorgeous mix of a few different colors of sunflowers. We had some kind of bronzy colors, yellows, reds, and they all seem to be really tall plants with lots of multi-stem, lots of like dozens of flowers on each plant, and they grew really well for me. When I planted these last year, I planted them out as starts, and a little bunny came along, and I was watching him just go along the little row of sunflowers I planted at my back fence, and he just had stem after stem after stem just hanging out of his mouth as he went along, eating them all. And I thought, oh, that's all my sunflowers gone. But they came back so strong and branched out so nice, and they looked so beautiful. So I think he helped me by doing a little pruning on them. But that's my sunflowers that I picked for this year. And I'm really excited to get them going. It's a lot of sunflowers. I'll be sticking them in everywhere I can. I really like to have them along my back fence and grow up, and it's to grow up nice and tall there and fill that back space in. And I always think it looks really pretty to look out the back of my house and see that. Some of them are nice small varieties, so I could probably put them in a few pots. And I'm just really looking forward to them. Now, I am starting a lot of seeds and plants and things inside this year, so I'm not sure if I'll start these early or not. Sometimes it's nice to start them a few weeks before your average last frost, just to give them a little head start, but you don't need to do that with sunflowers. they can just be direct sown out in the garden. So that I am guessing that's what I'll wind up doing, is right around my last frost date, I'll just be putting the seeds right into the ground. So that's my sunflowers that I'm going to be growing coming up this year. Just a couple varieties. I'll be popping them in everywhere I can find space, I'm sure. And I won't be growing all the seeds out of each of these packs because that is just way too many sunflowers. But I'll certainly be growing a good selection and a few from each pack. And it should look absolutely stunning in my yard near, August, September, when they really come into their own. I can't wait. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.